What's going on? We're live, or at least I hope we're live. I am your host, Boston Rob. Welcome to the Friday Night Hangout. I'm joined this week by my fellow Survivor, alum, and winner, my man, Tyson Apostol. Brother, how are you?
I'm great. I love that intro, too. Not just your intro, but the animation and everything. It's super pro.
I came up with that just on the spot, the whole thing.
You made that?
I'm like behind the scenes making it work. As you know, I'm so good at technology. So anyway, I just wanted to thank you for joining me. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do here on Friday night. And I thought it'd be really cool for the fans, for everybody to just have a little hangout session and catch up and, see how everyone's doing. What's up?
It looks like people are going berserko in the chat right now. We have Karen. Rob, I love you. You and Amber are my favorite survivors. That's cool, Karen. Survivor and poker, my two loves.
Yeah, so it's pretty awesome. I think it's really cool that we can have the fans join in. We'll be interactive. We'll deal with a little bit of the chat, some of the questions. But I want to catch up with you a little bit before we start. The focus here, of course, is the strategy of Survivor and poker. So let me just dive in and ask you, how have you been enjoying this season of Survivor so far?
I mean, it's awesome. It's actually like really picked up the last couple episodes. And I have to say, I'm very excited. They have a couple things they're teeing up for the future weeks with some rivalries going on. And I am excited. I've been tuning in for like 3 weeks waiting for this rivalry between Ellie and the old tattooed dude with the goatee.
Yeah, Gabler.
Yeah, right. I'm just waiting for that to explode, and it hasn't yet. So
it's been a lot of fun. We've been watching it here at the house. The kids are into it now. They're old enough to watch it, so we watch it together as a family. And I got to say, it has been a fun season. One of the things that I really love about Survivor, as you do too, is the strategic aspect of it, right? It's a social game. It's a physical game. But the strategic game is like what really gets me involved in it. And I know there's so much crossover between the game of Survivor and the game of poker in that strategic element. And I'm just wondering if you see the same parallels and similarities like I do between the two.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's, when you're weak, fake that you're strong. When you're strong, fake that you're weak. It's like, that's very simple, obviously, in simple terms, but like that goes a long way in both. Yeah. And I think that's what drew me to Survivor from cycling, because cycling was very strategic as well. And then from Survivor to poker as well, when I realized I didn't have to ride 6 hours a day to be able to enact my strategy as a poker player.
Right. And I know that you have that type of mindset. Your brain works the same way that mine does, in terms of like, you're always trying to figure out where your edge is and where your angle is. And that comes in poker too. Today, I want to, get a little bit of a watch party going from last year's Run Good Pro-Am. So the guys in the studio, if you guys could start that now, that would be awesome. And we'll kind of review a little bit of that poker and see how that strategy played into your game.
I play fast and loose. You know that.
I know. And you always, you took my advice. When you have them down, you step on their throats and you never let up, no mercy. There's definitely going to be a give and a take between the two strategies as we get going. Let's take some questions from the chat. And I see here, Sarah says that she's watching the new Survivor with her fiance. She loves it, but it's never as good without us. I mean, I'd probably agree with her,
Yeah, 100%. I mean, my back's still like pretty sore from carrying the entire season of the Challenge USA.
Yeah, that was awesome. I love that, right up to the end where it didn't work out. And we're not going to go too far into like what happened in the past. We're moving forward. But you definitely crushed it. I was proud of you the way you played that game, man. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about what you got going on with pickleball and entering that arena.
So like a handful of years ago, I fell in love with pickleball. I moved to Arizona. They play pickleball all down here. And after Winners at War, like that was the shutdown. There wasn't it's not generally after Survivor, you go out, you make some appearances, you have some gigs lined up and all that stuff. And that's how you fully capitalize on the experience. And because of the shutdown, we had to reinvent ourselves. And I started looking at pickleball, which I loved and knew that anybody who tried it would immediately be hooked to it. And was like, oh, there's no real celebrity driving the sport or promoting the sport. So I'm just going to be that guy. And we are now 2 years deep on a lot of our contracts, our paddle contract with Gamma Pickleball, Fila Pickleball, one of our partners as well.
Right.
And I also host the official podcast for Major League Pickleball, which has new team owners, including Tom Brady, Kevin Durant just bought a team, and LeBron James has a team, all for 2023. So it's an exciting time for pickleball. I'm glad that I had the foresight. I didn't have the foresight with Bitcoin that I wish I had. But I have
all of us wish we had. The ones that have been holding have held on a little too long right now, or so it appears. But it's true, the sport is on fire. I love to play tennis, and I know we've played pickleball a few times. It is a lot of fun, and it is definitely getting to be more mainstream. You see guys like Brady getting into it. Some guy named Hanks in the chat. I mean, it might be Brent. I'm not sure. He says, would you rather have Josh Allen or Mac Jones as your pickleball partner?
Ooh.
Both quarterbacks, of course, one for the Buffalo Bills, the other for the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
One's injured right now.
Okay. So does that mean he has more time to play and hone his skills as a pickleball player? Or I
feel like he would, although I think it's a high ankle sprain. So Hanks Brett is definitely hoping you say Josh Allen. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I mean, I just got a button here. I can just get rid of you with one click.
Just click, I'm out.
Yeah. No, definitely the sport's catching on, and that's awesome that you're doing all that. I think at this point, can we get the maybe you didn't hear me before, but can we get the background going with the show? All right, I have it. I have them turn down the back volume so it doesn't become too much of a hindrance. But this obviously was a fun tournament that we both played in last year out in Vegas at the PokerGO studios. And I just want to take this opportunity right now to let everybody know that we're also playing now I'm playing right now on the PokerGO Hold'em app. And if you guys want to play along with me, jump on the PokerGO Hold'em app, click next table to the second table. It's a sit and go right now, and you can join. It's free to play. And if you use the code Boston Rob, you get 100,000 free chips, which, trust me, you're going to need them. But this was a fun day playing the All-Stars Pro-Am last year. I remember I showed up late because my flight got delayed, and you guys were already in the thick of it. Walk me through, first of all, the first thing that stands out to me is your outfit here. Walk me through that choice.
Fila, as you know, is one of my sponsors in pickleball on and off the court, and they sent me this sick tracksuit. You saw it.
Yeah, Babar.
Yeah, and it's Babar. It's it's Fila tennis, Babar, all combined into one collaboration, and I had to wear it because I know there's a lot of tracksuit aficionados in poker, and this would make them all jealous. And it did. Even look at that old guy's face. He's jealous.
There's Grenader Jake from Destiny 2, Twitch streamer, friend of ours, and great guy. He was there at the Pro-Am. Mm-hmm. And I actually saw Jake this summer too and met up with him. He had a group meetup in Vegas. But I think the cool thing about that tracksuit that you had on, it exemplifies, I think, a little bit of your mentality, which is if you can't win them all, at least look good not winning them all.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm always going to win best dressed, and I already know going into a room that I'll have that under my belt, and then maybe a second ring if I win a tournament.
Yeah, who's more likely to take over, Cameron asks, for Probst, either me or you? And, it's so interesting they asked that question because today I was actually thinking to myself that in 20 years, in 40 something seasons, 43 seasons now of Survivor, Probst has never missed an episode. He's never been sick, right?
No, he's been sick, but he's still been there.
Right, which is unbelievable in 43 seasons that our man, and I think, I don't know anybody's ever going to take over for him. I think he's going to be like Bob Barker at, 88 years old going, come on in. Just come on in.
Yeah, come on in. Hard stop. I was also thinking about that too today at the same time when I was in the offices at CBS and they were asking me about replacing Jeff Probst in the next couple of years.
Yeah. They asked me last week, telling me that you were coming in this week and,
see what our bidding started at.
This is a pretty sweet feature table here. You got on your right, Mr. Joe Stapleton, comedian and sports card extraordinaire degen. And on your left, Jamie Kerstetter, who's all about her dogs and having a good time. This was a fun tournament.
Yeah, I loved actually this table. We got Brad Owen there as well. And he likes it when you add an S to his last name. I found that out about him. If you call him Brad Owens, he prefers that.
Oh, he likes that, huh?
Yeah, he does that.
Yeah. It's always good to know what tilts your fellow people competitors at the table, just like it does on Survivor, right? I mean, there's a lot of times when you're out there and, just what it takes to get under someone's skin. And there's definitely a time and a place for that, for sure.
Definitely. And I think I probably do it more than I should, but sometimes it's so fun, especially at the poker table.
Yeah. Have you been playing a lot of poker lately?
I mean, I've been crushing the slot machines, so it's hard to even fit any amount of poker in when slot machines are so profitable right now.
You know what? Like it's a huge joke and everybody's laughing at home, but here's the actual truth, the actual fact. Tyson and I have been hanging out for the better part of 15 years, and I got to tell you, he has been relentless in his approach to the slot machines, and I'm not joking. This is not a troll. I have never seen anybody plus EV playing slot machines like Tyson has. Like you are an enigma, to say the least.
Yeah. Do you
remember announcing this? Do you remember announcing the Pro-Am?
I remember going to one of the hosts of the tournament, Tana, and he said, do you want to do the opening? And I said, yeah, but I'm going to, instead of saying shuffle up and deal, I'm going to say deal them and shuffle up or something. Right. Shuffle them up and deal them out, boys, or something. And he was like, please don't do that. And then I did.
Yeah. Which of course you're going to every time.
Every time. And now it's my signature saying.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah. So in all seriousness, I know you crushed the slot machine game, but you have played some poker recently, right?
I have been playing recently. Yeah. I went out to Grayton event in San Francisco or Santa Rosa.
Shout out to the Run Good series.
Yeah, shout out to the Run Good series. And that was super fun. And I'll be out at the Pro-Am this year again in December. And I mean, I play once in a while. It just depends. Like I have some casinos close by that when I can sneak out to them, I'll play. And then if poker is profitable, I'll play it. If not, I'll hit the slot machines and make up my losses.
That's it. Most people degen all their poker earnings in the pits. Tyson is an enigma, and he does it the opposite way. Sarah Mochilla? Yeah. Mochiola says she wants to go to the casino and play the slots. I don't blame you, but don't go alone. Make sure you go with Tyson.
Yeah.
With the technique, because he knows all the secrets.
Sarah, we're going to put together a travel package where people can join me and go and play slots.
Oh, that's such a great idea, dude. That's such a great idea. Our friend Parvati, who also played Survivor, she does these yoga retreats. We should do casino retreats, bro. Mm-hmm. Imagine that.
Poker, slots, all of it.
Yeah. So we're on the PokerGO Hold'em app. I blinded out of the first one. I wasn't really paying attention. But if you guys jump in, a new game will be starting soon. And the first one's just click next table under the US Poker Open when you download it, and click next table, and you can actually join right now and buy in. And I am seated right now. There's one other person at the table with me, and you can join the table. And we're going to play a little sit and go. It's a hyper turbo. It'll go about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but it's a fun little game to play here. So we're playing poker, we're watching poker, and we're talking pickleball and Survivor with fellow alum and champion Tyson Apostol. Tyson, tell everybody the story, because I mean, a lot of people saw us for the first time in Heroes versus Villains.
Yeah.
And they I mean, I don't know how to really put this other than they saw you vote yourself off.
Yep.
And in return, kind of crushed my game a little bit.
Yeah.
But now, all these years later, we're friends. Explain that to them, because a lot of people don't make that connection.
Well, so I overplayed my hand in Heroes versus Villains. It was an honest mistake. It wasn't like I was doing anything on purpose. Obviously, I wouldn't sabotage myself that way. And you and I had a good rapport on the island.
We did.
And we understood each other, I think, very well. And then when you got voted out, what happened behind the scenes that you may not know is I went to Ponderosa, which is where you go after you get voted out. And they sent everybody that had gotten voted out before me on their pre-jury trip. They kept only me back. And I was like, get me out of here. I don't want to look at this place anymore. I want to go with them. And they pulled me aside and they said, the person who's getting voted out next is a friend, and you're going to want to spend time with them after. And I was like, okay, but I still didn't even think that it was you. I was like, who? Because I thought you guys still have the majority there. You should be fine. So then when you came out, I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense. Gave you a big hug, said sorry. That was kind of shitty. And then you and I had to choose whether we traveled with James to a first world country to get his knee surgered, or go and meet up with the other people, all the bitter people that have been voted out before us in Fiji. And we both decided we wanted to go spend some time in the city. So at that point, Rob and I were pretty much handcuffed to each other for about 3 weeks in Sydney, Australia.
Yeah, we had no choice but to figure out a way to get along.
Exactly.
It was pretty easy. I like a lot of people have that residual resentment after they get off the show. And I've always kind of been what happens on the island stays on the island. And then afterwards, you let it go. It's like being mad at someone for beating you in a poker hand, right? Like, you can't be mad. Like, what happens in the game happens in the game. I mean, unless maybe you play Jack 4 offsuit and it costs you 130-something thousand, but that's another whole story.
I only play Jack 4 off now. That's the hand that I like to play. Oh, here we go. This would be perfect.
It's kind of crazy that story has enveloped the poker world and it's gone mainstream. What are your thoughts on the whole thing?
I think that Garrett hired the perfect photographer to take photos of him for the LA Times article or the LA Post or whatever it was, where he's like,
great. He definitely looked great,
looking inquisitive and also internally at himself with the reflection of him in a pool of water. It was incredible.
Yeah, just a heads up. I mean, obviously, if you're watching the stream, this is probably not a thing, but originally we had the wrong link on the stories, but the right link is up there now, which, I mean, I don't even know why I just said that, because if you're watching it, you figured out the right link, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know.
Tell your friends. If your friends aren't here, shoot them a text with the correct link. Also, Rob, I think you talked about what happens in the game stays in the game. The thing, too, I think with Survivor and also with poker is that I got it worse than you got it. Like, I voted myself out. I looked extra stupid. Mm-hmm. And then you came out as kind of repercussions to that. So it's hard to be mad at somebody who gets it like you got it. Had I somehow gone on to win that game and made that blunder still, I think that's more reason for you to be like, this guy. But and it's like poker too, like somebody hits a 2-outer on the river and you're like, this guy, and then he ends up busting like 2 hands
Yeah, as
later.
long as he doesn't win, then it's
Yes.
okay.
Yes, as long as he doesn't win, you're fine.
But like, it's kind of weird. Like, you can't have the worst hand and like slow roll someone and get through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a little bit what you said like would never happen because you have to make that move and vote yourself out first. How would you win?
Right, but the thing is, if I had made like almost
If you
equally
made that
as
move
dumb
and you
move,
did get through, and
Yeah.
then as long as you didn't win, then I can't really be mad. Yeah.
or like if I made that move and you were the one that went home instead of me,
Right.
then that would be much different than what happened.
Yeah.
And I like even like I played Survivor 4 times. I was on the Challenge USA not too long ago, and there's people that like that like I could be mad at, but I'm not because like they got theirs too in that moment or shortly after. But then there's also people where I'm like, this person, I just can't even look them in the face anymore.
Yeah, I know. I feel that sometimes, like, you want, like, if it's not you, you kind of not so much you want it to be someone else, but you don't want it to be someone else.
Yeah.
Like, that comes up a lot. But, like, like, I've always maintained that the person that wins the show deserves to win the show, And, like, just like in poker, in Survivor, you have to make all the right moves, but you also have to get so lucky in all the right spots, right?
Yeah.
Nobody wins a poker tournament by just getting it in with the best hand every time. There's times you're going to come from behind. There's times you're going to get super lucky. Your ace queen's going to outplay ace king, and it's going to happen. And that has to happen, So the variance that's involved with it, like a lot of people, like I think because you and I understand like the odds and the statistics and we understand that variance, it makes us more suitable to play a game like Survivor where other people think like it's just like what they do.
Yeah.
Where you have to accept there's some stuff that's not in your control.
Right. And you just have to be able to let that stuff pass you by because there's nothing you can do. So it's yeah.
A question coming in from Sarah. She wants to know, how do we feel about come on in, guys, versus come on in?
Good. I'm glad that our moderator chose this for us to answer.
I know. Really special, put us on the spot. I mean, I think it's like a sign of the times, but I don't know. I don't know how to answer it. I personally was never offended by it.
But you're also a guy.
Right. I'm also a guy. But like in a way, it was like one person came back and said that they were offended by it. So that one person decided for everyone else.
Yeah. So that I was going to touch on that too. I actually host the Survivor podcast on the Ringer Network called The Pod Has Spoken, found anywhere, but mostly on Spotify. And when we covered this, that was exactly my opinion was that you could tell Jeff wanted to change it. He wanted to change it and he wanted it changed, but he wanted to ask the contestants about it first. And then they kind of were like, I don't know. And I don't think you put it on them. Like, it's not up to this handful of people you chose for this show to choose how to change the format of the show and the sayings of the show. And Jeff should have just changed it, not even addressed it. Right. And then you wouldn't have even asked us that question because it would have gone pretty much unnoticed.
Yeah. I mean, there's some vernacular that's of Survivor that's kind of like part of like what it is. But, at the same time, the game changes, it evolves. Like, I mean, we used to play like 39 days. Now they play a shortened 26-day season.
Yeah. And they're just shortening the saying.
So but you can't be the old guy in the club going like, back in my day, this is how we did it. It's like, and you see, or I've seen that same evolution in the game of poker. Like we've seen like from when I first started really playing poker in like 2004, 2005, after Moneymaker won, and we saw like, 3x big blind raises. And then like everybody like kind of switched to small ball. And then it was like anything goes, 4-bet, 5-bet. and now it's GTO. And it's like the game changes, and you have to figure out a way to adapt along the way because you can't play that old school game in the new school environment. And
Yeah.
I think like the people that are stuck on what it was will never really like get to where they need to get to win where the game is now. It's almost like you have to meet the game where it is. And you and I think, are unique because we've both seen that evolution, right? Like we've played, 10, 15, 20 years ago, and we've played as recently as 2 years ago, and we've seen how it's changed.
Yeah. I think
So,
even the social interactions are different. And it's not that it's like woke or unwoke or something. It's a generational thing in a lot of circumstances where it's like these kids just interact differently. And if
yeah,
you're not staying up with how they interact and how to make them feel comfortable around you and things like that, then you're going to get left behind.
I remember specifically in season 40, there was something that came up, and I forget who it was. I think it might have been Sophie, but it might not have been. So don't quote me on that. But someone said, like, this is season 40. We're not going to vote someone out just because they're not working at camp, right? And like back in the day, it's like if you didn't pull your weight, you were public enemy number one.
Yeah.
So it's like that's like a mind reset that you have to like really adjust to. And like I think the social component that you just brought up, it's true in poker too. Back in the day, like it would be very, talkative and interactive. And now it's almost like statuesque, sit there. There was a stage with the hoodies and the glasses, and now that's kind of evolved to like timing tells how long it takes to put your chips in versus the motion that you move, and everything is very calculated. And it's like the meta game has gone to the next level. You see that a lot.
Yeah, it is true. And I mean, especially on a returning season when, first person voted out used to always be the most annoying person or the least helpful person.
Yeah.
And on a returning season, it's who's most threatening or who's linked to the person who's most threatening or who, like, it's totally different. And there's nothing that really factors into it, like people playing for the first time or like that long ago. Like now everybody's like, oh, we're going to get to the merge at some point. We may as well just get rid of all the threats as soon as we can.
Right.
And that's a lot different than, the first time we played, even, heroes versus villains. It was kind of like Randy's kind of useless. Let's get rid of him first.
Yeah. Versus like, like this guy's never going to hurt us. Like he could be a solid vote if we bring him in, but that's the evolution of the game. You've seen it change with idols and different advantages and everything else. What about a crossover like poker game where like after like a certain amount of time, you vote someone off of your table to go to another table and play?
Would you just be voting the big stack off every time?
I don't know. Would you? Or the most aggressive player?
I think you just vote off the most talented player every time because you could, like, sometimes the big stacks is somebody who's just like a luck box who's going to start paying everybody out. So, yeah, I think
that's interesting. What do you think they're like? And then ultimately, all the best players end up at one table, and everybody else ends up to fight them. I mean,
that's actually not a bad way to go. And then the pros all play themselves, and all the amateurs are stuck to fend for themselves, and then they all meet up at the final table.
Yeah, that's funny. I think like there's so many parallels between the two games. Like, and generally, what I find super interesting is like poker players are pretty much, for the most part, analytical thinkers. Yet, oh, there's Jeff Platt. Look at him. We got a shout out to Jeff Platt with one of his many blazers that he has. This looks like the rose/fuchsia blazer. What a great guy. And, I think he goes to the shop at Aria to get his outfit once a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
He got in the window and he goes, I'll take that one.
He's definitely a blazer guy.
Yeah.
I got to get him a tracksuit.
No doubt. I don't know if he'd know what to do with the tracksuit, honestly.
Yeah.
But I was saying that like the people that play poker are for the most part analytical thinkers, right? But none of the so-called poker players have actually ended up doing well on Survivor, right? I think
Yeah.
the crossover is the Survivor players that can do well in poker, and obviously like Garrett Adelstein, who's like in the throes of like the biggest controversy ever now, is probably the most renowned cash game player. Of course, JRB, Jean Robert, is also a very good cash game player. But it seems to me that the poker players, when they go on Survivor, it feels like a lot of times they try to win the tournament in the first level, right? They try to win Survivor in the first 3 or 4 days. You've seen so many of them play too fast, too early.
Yeah. I think that is what it is I don't think it's that they're necessarily trying to win. I think there's pressure for them to show their strategic chops because they're poker players. So they're like, I can't let the poker community see me not being strategic here. And so they like kind of have that like chip on their shoulder to prove to the community that like I am strategic. And then they just overplay. And one thing like poker, you can overplay and you can kind of rebound from it if you like, like I do that all the time. Like I chase hands early when it's not that expensive. I bleed out a lot, and then I kind of like
Well, you
collect my
rebuy a lot,
composure.
bro.
I
You
rebuy a lot too.
rebuy a
Sure, I
lot.
gotta. How many times have I bought into a tournament, busted, run down to the slot machines, won my buy-in back, came back and bought in with that money?
Like that's a funny joke, but I've actually seen it on probably more than 10 times. So so it is pretty hilarious that you bring that up. I
So
know you're not a big drinker, but I'm having some vino with the stream. We got some stags tonight, and cheers to you. Thanks for joining me, brother.
yeah, I'm having fun. Back to the poker players. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's essentially what it is. And I think that once you overplay in Survivor, like that's a hard hole to get out of versus in poker, you can overplay early and then kind of like check yourself and be good. Survivor, it's very hard to check yourself and pull back and
yeah.
re-win everybody's trust when you've already, put your foot on the gas.
I agree. I agree. You're better off keeping your mouth shut and like being a wild card in the beginning and like assume like the old saying, like, better to keep your mouth shut and assume you're a fool than to open it and remove all doubt. I think that plays significantly in the game of Survivor for sure.
Yeah.
Just a quick shout out. We're still waiting for just 2 more people to join here on the PokerGo Hold'em app. You can go to the App Store. You can download it. It's free to play. If you use the code Boston Rob, you'll get 100,000 free chips. And just click on the U.S. Open Sit and Go, and you can join and play with us now. Waiting for 2 more players. It's free to play. It's fun little sit and go. And somebody asked season 63 Survivor, Mariano family versus Apostol family. I'm going to tell you what, we're going to be in an alliance together. So if you're on that season 63, don't get an alliance against us. Get with us.
Yeah. Come with the Apostles and the Marianos.
Yeah.
Uh,
Speaking of which, how is the family?
They're great. Kids are
Yeah.
in school. The weather's finally cooling down a little bit here in Arizona, and the kids are both in swimming team.
Yeah.
And so Marlo, she's 4 years old, and she's like puts a little swim cap on and goes and swims laps and stuff. So training her up for season 63.
Nice, dude. Yeah, I got Lucia, Karina, Isa, and Adelina. They're all every day out there making fire, doing it. You know what's interesting, though? I just thought of this, and I don't even know if it's true. Are we the only 2 Survivor winners where our spouses have also played?
Probably. Yeah. No, Jeremy.
No. Oh, Jeremy's wife played.
Yeah, Jeremy's
Okay.
wife played. So anybody from a Blood versus Water season is probably who you're going to have to think of. and Jeremy's the only one that came to mind right off the bat. But
Are there any other two married couples where both of them won, or just me?
Just you.
Just wondering. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. No, just you. Not. I mean, Rachel might not be
Rupert.
done yet.
Somebody Cole Hoover in the chat said Rupert. He's right.
But Rupert didn't win.
Out there with his wife. That's right. It was.
But he didn't win. He didn't win Survivor.
They got him.
He gave him $1 million.
I mean, he got $1 million in like the America's vote. But you're right. I wouldn't qualify that as an actual win.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what were you thinking at this pro-am? I remember showing up late, and Danielle Moon and Jamie Kerstetter had the drinks flowing. And I heard I had a great time at this event.
You did have a great time. I remember you specifically having a great time. I also had a great time. I mean, the luck of the table where I'm sitting, it's Joe and I, and then we've got Jamie and Brad both at the table. We had a lot of fun at that table, I remember. And I remember Joe telling all of us, let's all slow play, and we can all, last past late reg, so we don't have to reg again.
So he was trying to collude so he didn't have to re-ante the 500.
Yeah, and I got off to a playing every hand style like I like to do, because you can't
always like to do.
You can't win if you're not seeing flops.
Right.
And so I like to see as many flops as I can.
Bro, let me ask you, how many hands have you won when you folded?
0.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
0.
go. Shout out to Chance Corneth, who's helping me up my game in a lot of his strategy that is it's a no-fold strategy. We're not folding a lot of hands.
Yeah, so, that's Chance.
I don't know if you want to get with him to collaborate on the next edition of his program, but I feel like you intuitively already know don't fold.
Yeah.
Electro Kool-Aid asks, you guys think Jeff Probst plays poker?
He said Porpst.
Oh,
Jeff
he did?
Porpst.
Did he say Porpst? He misspelled, or you think that was intentional?
Maybe it's a different person. Yeah. I don't know. You would know better than me.
Yeah, he does play. He plays poker recreationally, and he's actually a pretty good poker player. We used to play a game called So You Say You're Hungry, and it was a bluffing game, and it was like, how much do you think you could eat in one setting? So you'd start, and I'd say, I think I can eat an entire cheese pizza. Mm-hmm. And then the next person would have to go like, I can eat an entire cheese pizza and 6 Haagen-Dazs ice cream bars. And it was a raising game until somebody called you bluff. And ultimately, somebody ended up eating too much and getting sick or paying off the bet. But Jeff understands strategy for sure. A lot of people think, want to see him play the game. I'd love to see him play. I don't know at this stage if he's ever going to. But it would be interesting to see him out there playing the game that he's hosted for so many years.
So would he host and play? How would this work? Because he kind of already does that a little bit.
Yeah. I don't feel like that would be fair. How do you think he would do?
I think they'd just vote him out just because he's Jeff Probst.
Yeah. I feel like, a little bit of his target would be too big for sure.
What about if they did Australian Survivor and had him go play that?
I mean, I just don't see him actually doing it, at this stage. I think there was maybe an opportunity if they pushed hard enough back in the day, like a celebrity version where he actually played with other celebrities that have never played before.
Yeah.
But I feel like a little bit like, even like with me and Winners at War, like, the target's pretty big. Like, yes, I have friends and I have like alliances, but you're really up against it. And I think that kind of takes the allure of actually playing away. Here I am on screen. This is when I just got my new Mac Jones jersey. Brett, that's when he was before the high ankle sprain. And we'll see what happens this Monday night. They're playing Chicago.
Have you tried to return that jersey?
No, I still have it. I'm hoping for a comeback. I'm hoping that he gets it together. Although the kid Zappy played pretty good the last 2 weeks. So
yeah.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure. What other poker players have played on Survivor? We've had Ronnie.
Ronnie Barta,
Yeah,
which on that season, I was actually a mentor on the season. That was
that's
39, the
right.
Island of the Idols. And I was super excited to meet Ronnie because he's a hometown guy. He's from right outside Boston, town called Brockton.
Had
And
you met him before he went on the show?
I'd never met him before. I had heard of him, but
Yeah.
I'd never met him. And it was literally the first tribal council. Sandra and I were in the nest, the little nest above tribal council watching. And here he goes. And he's, just moving all his chips in on the first tribal council, and he's gone. But subsequently, we've both met him, and he's an awesome guy. Ronnie's a great guy. He's actually a really good poker player. Just overplayed his hand, I think.
Yeah.
That first season.
Yeah, I think so too. I had met Ronnie before he went out on Survivor. He's good friends of Gary Gates, another mutual friend that we know. And
Right.
I met him. And so I was surprised when he got on the show. I was like, oh, but I think also at that time, I had been talking to Chris Moneymaker and was trying to get Chris Moneymaker on the show. And casting was like, we would love that, but we already have a poker player.
Here it is. This was the beginning. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but if you look on the screen, this is the beginning of the end. Danielle Moon, also known as the Devil, started passing tequila shots around the table, and then subsequently Fireball. And I think we had some fun, but that was the beginning of the end of this Pro-Am All-Stars Run Good Poker Tournament for me.
I remember a very thick and heavy cinnamon smell in the room.
Yeah. I think the pit bosses at Aria Casino right next to PokerGo also got a whiff of that cinnamon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Heather asked you, I think Philip would make a great poker player. No doubt. He would definitely make a great poker player, probably for the other players in the game. I think they'd be very happy to have him at his table. The specialist, of course, they're talking about.
Yeah, the specialist. He would be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in a hand right here. Let's see what Jamie does.
Oh, you turned top pair. Did you check it?
No, I bet.
Oh, she checks. Wait a minute. You checked the river and she checked back?
No, I think I'm on the button there. Yeah, I'm the button. So I checked after. I had a weak ace.
Oh, bro, you got to step on their throats more.
I'm sorry.
You lost value there for sure.
Well, leave it up to me.
I understand. She had the braid in her hair. You were probably.
She'd been calling my bluffs all day. Like
really?
There were so many times where she caught me with like a Jack 4 and I had like a ton of outs, like literally like not exactly that. But I was like, Jamie, stop. You're reading me too well. And it was just like constant. And I was like, fine. Now I got to just play easy against Jamie because she's like beating me up.
Yeah, no doubt. So what else you got coming up here? Oh, Anna Kate made it the furthest in Survivor.
I don't think so.
Poker players go. That says Shane Sherman said that.
What about Jean Robert? Didn't he make it further than her? I think he was like top 6 or something.
Jean Robert was China. Yeah. He's in China, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did pretty good, Jean Robert. I've never actually met Jean Robert. I have a lot of mutual friends, yeah, but I've never actually met him.
I met him one time, and I was staying at a hotel that you always recommend called the Mandarin Oriental in Las Vegas.
Yes.
And I think he owned...
Which is now the Waldorf Astoria.
Yeah. And he owned or was living in the residencies of those. And I was at the pool with my family, and he was in the pool. And I was like, yo, dude. And he knew who I was. I think I just came off Blood versus Water or something. And he was like, hey, how's it going? We chatted for a little bit. And then he turned to his girlfriend or wife, whoever, and was like, this guy was also on the show that I was on that I was telling you about. And that's how he described Survivor Tour.
Endrel Cassid says JRB was the only player that made the jury. Possibly. Yeah, for sure. A mutual friend of mine, and shout out to my boy 2021 WSOP Poker Player of the Year, Josh Aryeh, is going to be my co-host next week and is good friends with JRB. I think they have an ongoing pool hall battle that they've been playing pool together for a lot of years.
Okay.
Shout out to Josh. He'll be here next week. I don't know what we're going to watch. Perhaps his main event final table, which is back from 2005. I can't wait if that's the one we're going to watch because he has this shirt on, which was stellar back in the day.
What was it? A Versace?
It's pretty laughable today. It was like one of those, like, I think it was like blue and black with all the stripes like real close together running down.
Yeah.
You know, the kind that you definitely cannot wear on television.
Yeah, because it warps it.
Screen do this.
Yeah.
And he had that on at the final table. And I just actually rewatched that episode a few weeks ago on PokerGo, and it was hilarious to watch how young and cocky he was. Not unlike myself in some of the early seasons of Survivor, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be. That's how you get invited back, right?
No doubt. No doubt. I mean, you have to and that's the thing. You have to make a statement, make a presence, especially if you don't win. You're not coming back as like the runner-up if like you were just someone that like coattailed their way there.
Yeah. I remember, so on TikTok, which we're both on now, welcome to TikTok, Rob, I started posting old clips of me from Survivor, and I'm just starting with the first season, going all the way through. Anything entertaining I did or said is going to be a clip on TikTok. And I remember, I was very, very cocky. Just even the very first two things that came out of my mouth, I remember were very cocky. And that's when I would run around with my underpants off and stuff, just because I was like in such good physical form.
Newsflash, bro, you're still cocky.
Yeah, no, I agree. Did you watch the challenge?
It was like circa 90 days ago, right?
Yeah, that's true.
No, I feel you though. Like TikTok's, I mean, it's wild, dude. Like, but again, it goes back to like, you know, the current state of things. It's like either you get with it or it leaves you behind. So who knows? I'm not doing any dancing, but we're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it is true. I should have gotten, I downloaded it originally, like when we were on Winners at War. And when I opened it, I was like, it just started screaming at me. And I was like, oh, I don't think I could handle this. Every time you open the app, it just has a video screaming at you. Right. So I like immediately deleted it from my phone. And then a while later, I was like, I should learn to use this. I don't want to, otherwise I'll.
The kids today.
Kids today.
Yeah. So coming up for live poker, I am going to be going to Sacramento to the Run Good Stop. And then I think I'm going to see you. Am I going to see you in December?
Yes.
At the PokerGo studio again.
Yeah. I'm going to stop in, play a hand, then run out to the slot machines, then run back in. Like a lot of people will multi-table in real life tournaments. I'll be doing that, except for it will be with my table here and the slot machines.
I'm going to try to come in a day early this time so that I don't have any flight delays, and request that I don't get seated with Danielle.
She'll still find a way to get drinks to you. I
know she will, but I'm going to be stronger this time.
And if you want to learn how to play poker, you haven't played poker before, if you download the PokerGo Hold'em app, it's free to download.
Yes, it is.
Easy to play.
And you get 100,000 free chips. Use the code Boston Rob. We're on the app now playing on table 2. So just click next table, sit down, and you can play along with us. I am not doing great right now.
Sit and go? Is that where you're at? Sit and go?
Yes, I'm in U.S. PokerGo Hold'em.
U.S. PokerGo Hold'em.
Yeah. So what else do you have coming up next, brother?
I have, let's see what I have. I've got Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are my busy days with podcasting. So I'm podcasting Survivor. I'm podcasting Pickleball. I podcast about the weird newses of the week.
Bro, feels like a lot of work.
Yeah, it's an hour a day at least.
Wow.
Yeah. And
How do
then
you do it?
I don't know. It's something, you just kind of got to put your head down and just grind through that hour. And then I have to take a lunch break and pool break and everything. So I have that coming up. And then other than that, I'm trying to think. November, we got just Thanksgiving. My family's coming out here, and then I'll be definitely playing this PokerGo Hold'em app to prep myself for December because I'm gonna win the trophy this time. I think.
Really, bro?
I may as well.
I don't want to stop bragging on the
Uh-huh.
very first episode, but I don't know if you noticed, but a few weeks ago we're in Cleveland for the Run Good series, and I won my first ring.
How much money did you win?
I mean, it's not really that important, but it was like 8,000, about 8,000 and something.
Okay, that's not
Yeah.
bad.
I mean, we're not going to retire off it, but like I pretty much, dominated from beginning to end
Yeah,
in the
I
way
like
that
that.
only I can.
Yeah, that feels good. Did it feel good?
It felt good like when I had all my money in with ace queen against ace king and that queen came on the river.
You pulled a Jeff Platt?
I mean, I've been watching him luck box his way into so many tournaments lately.
Dude, he's been crushing.
I know. Brett Hanks wants me to talk a little bit about what's going on in Buffalo with the Bills. I know he's a big fan, and I told him I'd address it. I'm not happy about it. The Bills are in first place. The Patriots are in last place. This hasn't happened in a long time, right? Our quarterback got hurt, and they got Josh Allen, who's arguably one of the top, 3 to 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. I'm not going to argue with him. You have your time, but it's a long season. So let's wait and see because we still have Bill Belichick. I know you're not a huge football guy, Tyson, but the number one team of the last 2 decades has been the New England Patriots, right?
Yeah. No, I know a lot about that stuff. I know enough about it. And it's okay. My advice, Rob, is just let Buffalo Hanks have 2022 into 2023. That's fine. And then
I'm going to let him have right now because right now is relevant. I feel like, and I don't know for sure, but I feel like when we were in Vegas for the Pro-Am last year, I feel like Buffalo played a playoff game. I almost feel like we were all standing around a certain bar at Aria, and maybe Buffalo messed up that game.
I remember standing around there. Yeah, and I remember people cheering and stuff, and I was winning at slot machines, so I was doing that.
I think people were cheering, and Brent might have been crying. I don't know. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, there was.
Anyway, I know. Look I see the chat right now. I'm getting a lot of boos for the Patriots. They must be Steelers fans. We beat you guys again. I live with a Steelers fan. Okay, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. They can have it right now. The Bills can have it. I'm happy for the Bills. It's like remember when the Red Sox, the curse of the Bambino or whatever, and then you won the World Series. How great did that feel?
So great.
Yeah, and the Bills have got to be in a similar situation sometime, and I mean,
you think this is the year? You think they're going to win it this year?
I mean,
shout out Brent Hanks, Tyson Apostol trying to get a PokerGo sponsorship.
Yeah, they're definitely
bro.
They're definitely winning. And you heard it here first. All money on the Bills.
My man.
Yeah. Follow my TikTok for more NFL fantasy
highlights.
Football. Yeah. Input.
And quick takes.
And recipes. I do it all. Yeah, that's funny. I love how and we just call him Buffalo now, right?
I feel like that's
Brent.
Yeah.
At
this stage until they're not in contention anymore, then we go back to calling him Brent.
Okay, that sounds good.
That should happen. We don't know if it's going to happen or not.
Yeah, we don't know.
Shout out to Remco behind the scenes helping us out with the stream tonight, and our man Tana Karn of the Run Good Poker series.
Now, is that his full last name?
Karn?
Yeah.
No, it's actually Karn, and then I think it's Ace King, like
Uh-huh.
AK, and then like Johnny Fan and Johnny Chan.
Okay.
So I don't want to butcher it on stream because he'll just kill the stream. But like Karn, Ace King, Chan Fan, or maybe Fan Chan.
Very good. See, this guy busted from the tournament, feeling really bad,
Yeah.
and then I gave him a hug, and probably not feeling quite as bad.
We got a
Almost a
question
win.
here from the chat.
Uh-huh.
Chrissy Cozy asks if they did a legend season, Legends only season of Survivor, would either of you play again? You playing Survivor again, bro?
I do not think so.
Yeah. It's hard, it's really hard. And this is what I say to everybody. Like, everybody has a target, right? So, like, if they
Mhm.
do a legend season, then of course, the target's on everyone. But within the Survivor community, there's also like a hierarchy,
A
right?
totem pole,
Right. There's a
and we're
totem
right at
pole.
the top.
And when you're at the top, right, your public enemy,
I
doesn't
agree.
matter if you're public enemy number 1, 2, or 3, or 4, like, you're at the top.
Yeah.
And it's a lot to fade. It's like playing a poker tournament, and they're like, you want to play a poker tournament with all the other Survivor players, but they get the button every hand. It's like, I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. And that's it's that combined with leaving my kids is difficult.
Of course.
And I'm busier than I've ever been as far as doing things that I love to do that are working out for me. So I
Right.
love podcasting. I love doing it from my bunker here, and I can do it all from home. And I'm pretty good at talking. I know I have a face for TV, but I also have a voice for radio. And I'm one of the few in the world that I think those two things like really are both pluses in my world. So it's not, yeah. I apologize for not going on TV more because I should just for the fans, but I really like working from home.
Here's my buddy Jeff Platt on the PokerGo
Oh,
stream
we came up to you. Excuse me,
asking me
sir.
to stand up. This is the thing. I don't know how it happened, but like, this is his thing. Like, come on, guys, stand up. I think at this point I refused just because I was being, that Survivor cocky, or maybe it was too many tequilas at that point. But I gotta say, that fuchsia jacket is working for him.
No, he looks great in it. I think,
Yeah.
The eyes and makes his eyes really pop. He's wearing with jeans too,
Right.
which is
Just super dressed down for him.
but it's also like a billionaire look. Like, when you get
Yes.
on a flight and it's like all dudes in jeans and sports coats, and you're like, these are all billionaires.
Yeah.
In the first class.
All joking aside, I give Jeff a lot of slack, but I've told him privately that he's an excellent host. He really is a great host, and he could definitely do mainstream. He understands the audience. He lets the people talk, and I think he's got a bright future ahead of him for sure.
Okay, how much money you want to put on that?
I mean, I'd be willing to bet up to like a full $20 bill.
Okay, I'll think about it. I'll think about that bet. We'll talk. I'll need to interview Jeff a little bit more and see because his star does seem bright.
This is a fun table. The guy two to my right ended up winning the whole tournament, and his name is escaping me right now. But he's from South Florida, from Fort Lauderdale. This guy right here, with no hair, to the right right of Grenada Jake. Super super nice guy, and saw him at one of the Run Good stops in South Florida, and I'm sure he'll be back.
Yeah, I'm excited to see who all comes back to this thing because we will probably have some returning winners.
Bro, here's an interesting hand. You got 2 10s.
Yep.
Against Absolute Air, 30K in the pot. Let's see how this one develops.
Oh,
you just bet and they fold.
Yeah, easy
game.
Easy game.
Pair of 10s on an ace high board with the backdoor flush draw.
Now, what would be nice is Yeah. What would be nice in these situations where you are the leader, but you don't know it because the way the board plays out is to know what your opponent's hand is, and then you could bet appropriately. You know?
Yeah. It's always nice to know what your opponents are holding. I mean, I don't know what game that is, but
I don't know either, and I don't want to make a joke about anything right now with all the things going on in the poker world. I mean, it's just like Jack 4's gold.
it
Jack
is.
4 would have won that hand too.
Yeah, it is kind of wild to think about. What do you think about that whole situation? Do you think that she colluded, or do you think it was like her just like misclicking, or
I mean, definitely very weird.
right?
Even watching it live as it was happening, it did not make sense. Like I was like, what is going on? But I also don't know her full poker background.
Right.
And then I'm always of the assumption that it's like innocent until proven guilty, but also in these situations, it's like hard to prove. So yeah,
Super
eh,
suspicious, right?
yep,
Super suspicious.
yes.
I think
Weird. I would say weird. I wouldn't say suspicious. I would say bizarre, weird, yeah, it's like, yeah, not the fundamentals of poker.
like to me when it first came out, when I first heard about it, I was in Cleveland, we were having lunch, and I watched the hand, and then I heard, and when I watched the hand, I was like, it's kind of weird, like, like, but maybe she just misclicked and was like, I'm just putting it in against this guy, I don't know. But then as the story evolved, it's like I heard that she gave the money back.
Mm-hmm.
To me, personally, if I win a hand legitimately for any reason, like even if I just call the bluff or whatever, I'm never giving the money back. So I'm like, if she gave the money back, 100% she colluded in some way. She feels guilty to give the money back. But then, so I'm sitting at lunch with another female poker player, and she raises a really interesting point, and that is like supposedly she gave the money back under duress in like some back room, and she's like, as a woman in poker, she might have felt like she had to, like she was in like a situation where she felt compelled to give it back because like she felt like she was being pressured, and I was like, I can't really put myself in that position. So like in Survivor, like a lot of like figuring out quote unquote game optimal strategy is being able to put yourself in the other person's shoes. Now, because I'm not a woman in poker, that like never occurred to me. I never thought about it. I never thought like, what would I do in this situation? Would I feel threatened? And perhaps if I did, then I might have given the money back. And then afterwards, when I felt it was safe, which appears what she's doing, now she's speaking out about it.
Yeah, and I don't know because there's the accounts on that are so different and contradictory to other accounts, and so
Right.
that's what I don't know. But also, you also have to take into account like how much is that money worth to that person? Like if it's just like a $10 bill, like, and if somebody's like really complaining, I'll give them a $10 bill back. I'll be like, I don't care if that's really like your gripe, then here's your $10 bill back.
So
So
that's interesting. Yeah. Like I think that does make a difference.
yeah.
Even though it's a significant amount of money to almost every person on the planet, like what's 130K if you have, $2 billion?
Yes.
Uh,
Although you don't get $2 billion by giving away $130,000.
right.
So I don't know. I definitely very weird and bizarre, and stories aren't all aligning.
Yeah, the
And
story's changed several times for
uh-huh.
sure, right? But then again, it's like I saw the other day, she's at the Five Diamond out there at the Bellagio, and she's playing. Now, if I feel like I mean, look at there's two different people, and like some person that's guilty is like, I'm going to go out there and show the world I'm not, like the anti-sweat bluff or the anti-bluff versus like I have nothing to hide, I have the nuts, and like go ahead, just keep picking at me. So I don't know that we'll ever get to the bottom of it. I'm interested to hear. I know they hired an independent investigator. And just like everybody else that's involved in poker, I'm interested to hear the outcome.
Yeah, look at this hand.
You got eights. You move it up. Ace queen moves all in. Okay,
Yep.
that's pretty standard.
Yep, I got enough to cover.
Yeah, well, you got plenty of chips. Of course, you're just gonna call. You don't have to call there, but you do.
No, yeah, I don't have to. Yep. But I still 64K is enough to work with.
And you're nervously drinking your coffee after the hand. I noticed that.
Yep. You have to, because the hand's at this point, the hand is over. There's nothing more I can do or not do.
Right.
And just keep my fingers crossed.
Corey is a current world champ too, right?
Yep. He just won the World Series of Poker.
So you have to take that into consideration. Luck's running on his side.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's no different here.
And it's continuing to run on his side.
Yeah, he doubled through me.
That's the worst. Now you got 2 outs twice, so you're at like 12% or 13, it says.
Yeah. Rounded up.
Mm-hmm. From the look on your face, you look not happy, even though you're smiling.
Yeah. I think this tournament, I hung at around 70 to 120,000 all day long. As the blinds kept climbing and climbing and climbing, I never got to a comfortable position. Even though I lasted quite a while just floating there, I could not build my stack.
That's super frustrating. That happens a lot, like sometimes, like when you build a big stack early, it gives you momentum to keep going, but sometimes that can be a downfall. And sometimes like the super frustrating part of tournament play for me is when you're like just playing good, but you're not catching any cards and you can't really get anything going, and you have a table that's not like really playing your style. So you're always supposed to do the opposite, right? At least that's like what I was taught, like play the opposite way of everybody else, the way they're playing. And if they're not accommodating, then it makes it super frustrating.
Yeah, I play opposite of how everybody's playing all the time because I play so unconventionally.
Yeah. Looks like the game got paused. We're at like an hour, 8 minutes. I guess maybe
I think we're
going to be wrapping up here soon.
Yeah.
So let me just take the. I really appreciate you coming on, bro. Always a pleasure, and can't wait to see you on the felt again soon. Everybody else, next week we have Poker Player, WSOP Poker Player of the Year 2021, and my good friend for over 16, 17 years now, Josh Aurier, will be on. Tyson, before we go, what do you want to hit? What do you want to promote?
I mean, follow me on social medias, Tyson Apostol everywhere you turn, so that you can see my latest endeavors and my whereabouts. A lot of times I'll post when I'm playing pickleball and where I'll be if you ever want to come meet up on the court. And other than that, just thank you so much, Rob, for having me. Super excited to be here, and really looking forward to meeting up in December at the Pro-Am again, where we'll win some money some way or another.
Probably playing slots, but we don't know for sure.
You win the poker, I'll win the slots.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys all for joining. We'll see you same time next week or in 2 weeks. Take care.
See you.